Welcome Tech Brothers Damir. In this video, we are going to learn how to read the Lake database tables and views in PySpark Azure Synapse. The notebook demonstrates how to read tables and views from a Lake database in Azure Synapse Analytics by using a PySpark. Lake databases are typically backed by Delta, Parquet, or CSV files and can be accessed directly using Spark data frames. What is a lake database? A lake database in Azure Synapse is a Spark-based logical database that references data stored in ADLS Gen 2. Tables and views defined in the lake database are accessible from both Spark pools and serverless SQL pool if supported by the format. So when we're talking about serverless SQL pool, mostly you are talking about reading a Delta tables or Parquet or CSV or text. Like Avro and Avro and some other formats are not supported by serverless SQL pool. We have seen in different videos. So here you see that if I go to the data here, I can go to workspace and then I can see Lake database. I have multiple Lake databases and one of them is called the Lake _DB _demo right there, and it has the tables and it also has views. So one view actually. So I would like to query these one in by using a notebook and only PySpark code here. So first of all, I will be going to the develop here and then go to the new here and then say notebook. And once your notebook is open, you can just write the code, and that code I am already have pasted here in this notebook. I'm going to show you. So here is my very first cell and says it's a magic command here and say PySpark. That means I'm using PySpark. Also, if you see right here on top, I use PySpark Python. So if I'm using that here and then I don't need to put in the cell because that's already selected here. Now if I go ahead and execute this command, what's happening here, I'm creating a data frame that's like a table like structure in a memory that has column and rows, and I need to put the data in that data frame. So I will use spark.read table, and then this is a function I will be using to read the data, and then I have to provide the database name and then a table name. If I go back to my data here and go to the tables here, you can see I have a product underscore Parquet here. This is my table and it has columns such as product ID, product name, and price. Now, if I'm reading this, all the data from this table and putting into data frame, once the data is available in the data frame, I can use df.show to show the data from the data frame. Let's execute and take a look. So we have a product ID, product name, and price. You can see the format is not that great because show function doesn't format well. If I want to format better, I can use a display function, display, and then use df. So data frame, and I'm going to go ahead and execute. Now you will have more graphical output. Also, you can see there is a chart available and you can play with it and change all those different properties, and then there are different options available, like you want bar chart, you want a histogram or whatever, or pie chart is available, and you can take a look, and apply different maybe count or sum and all that. Once you apply that, you can create different charts. We are not interested too much into creating the charts here. We are interested in reading the data from those lake database tables and views. So let's go ahead and read another table. We have this another table called product CSV. So I created this table, and when I was creating, I said using CSV. If I take you back to the where the data is saved, I will show you right here, or I can take you from linked service here. This is ADLS Gen 2, and this is my container. And in the container, if I go, I have Synapse folder, and the Synapse folder have workspace. This is my workspace name, and then I go to the warehouse. In the warehouse, I have a database name here. All these are tables, and they contain different files depending upon the format we have defined. So a product underscore product, this folder contain these CSV files. So all the data is saved in CSV files. If I go back one step and take a look on Parquet product table, all the data is saved in Parquet format. So that's what I was talking about. When you create a table, you tell by using Parquet or CSV, that format is used here and save the data accordingly. If you was using Delta, what's happening, you will be saying all the data is saved here in Parquet and the logs are saved as a JSON in this folder underscore Delta logs. Okay, great. Now we understand how the data is saved, and for these different tables of Lake database, we can query them as well by using the PySpark. In the PySpark, we can always create a new data frame here. So df spark.read table, that's the function you will use to read from the table. Then you say database name and then the table name. Here I'm reading the data from a product CSV, and then I'm saying df2, that's my data frame 2, and then a display function. So now this is going to show me the data from data frame 2, and that has the data for product CSV. Here maybe I made some changes, that's why. So instead of I should say show, if I want to show use the display, then I should write display and then in parentheses the data frame. So here is the data from coming from my product CSV table. Now let's take a look. We have the view here and call the electronics view, and then I can read the data from there too. So not any different. So using the magic command telling this cell is going to use PySpark. Again, this is not important because I already have selected PySpark on top. But if you want to leave it there, that's fine as well. And here I'm creating a new data frame called view underscore data frame. And this data frame is going to be filled with the data coming from the view. So you will say spark.read.table, and then you provide database name, then the view name. And once you have it, the data will be filled in this data frame. And now we can display the data from the data frame by using this data frame.show function here. So let's execute now, and we should be seeing the data coming from our view. Okay, so here is our data that we read from the view and put into the data frame, and then we displayed the data frame contents by using show function. Now let's read some notes here using spark.read table and then database name table or view name to load data into the Spark data frame. And this method automatically infers schema and format. So that's a good thing. Use a dot show to preview dot display. I will say a dot display. I will say you will say display and then put the data frame inside. Okay, so here is I'm gonna try to correct this if I can make changes here. Okay, anyways, right here. So not dot display here, actually the data frame here. Okay. So that's a correction. Okay, now you will put display and data frame for tabular visualization, and if you want to print schema to inspect the structure, you can do that as well. So here I'm going to go ahead and actually show you the print schema, because if let's say we want to use this view and we want to see the schema of that view, what has returned, we can always execute, and it's going to show us all the list of the columns. So you have column of product ID, integer, you have product name, string, and then you have price as a double. So you can inspect the schema, what is loaded into the data frame. Now a couple more things, as I have shown you guys, like I created this nice notebook here with some notes and all that. You might not be needing all that. You might just want to go ahead and select the data from this table, and by the Spark you can always click right here and say new notebook, load to the data frame. In this case, this is the same statement. You can see it is going to create this PySpark, and the data frame is equal to spark.sql. So what is going to happen in this case is going to select all the data from this table and load into the data frame df, and then we can use the show. So if I copy this command here and let me take you to this notebook where we are connected, and we have session going on. So if I will run this one, it's going to work just fine. So in this case, we are not using the spark.read table function. We are actually using spark.sql, and that's full writing a select query inside right here. That's also one way to do that. Okay, so we have loaded the data from the product delta into the df data frame here, and then we are displaying the data here. Also same thing you can do for the view. You will say go new notebook, load to data frame, and this is the same query, just you have instead of having table name, you will see have a view name here. So in this case, if I want to read from the view, I can paste the view name here. Rest of everything stays as is, and the show 10 means only show me 10 records. So we don't have 10 records anyways, so we have very few, like 2 or 3 records. So we can see now the data is coming from the view. So I thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel, and please leave the comments if you guys have learned something good out of it.